There's a massive difference between what Tesla bears and what Tesla bulls are expecting. Today, let's go through the main arguments Tesla bears point to that support their position. They argue that Tesla stock is overvalued, especially if you compare PE ratios to other automakers. They have concerns about Tesla's margins. They say price cuts and competition is going to continue to erode profits. The other big arguments are the competition's coming, Elon Musk should be fired, and overexposure with China. I'm going to ask these questions to Larry and see, he's a long-time bull, Tesla bull, but can you think like a bear? Can you argue with a bear? Can you debate with a bear, Larry? I think you're the one of the best that can. So.
Yeah, I can debate with a bear. And, a lot of bears have got a lot of pretty good points to make, and they are points that we should give thought to. And honestly, many of those points are points that Tesla management gives serious thoughts to.
All right, let's go down one by one, right? So the first one, a lot of people will say Tesla stock is overvalued. If you look at the PE ratio, over 100, compare that to Toyota that has 12 million cars, this is crazy. You're a car company, you're overvaluing that, and that's a lot of it. That's why they'll short it. It's got to fall. It's what they call a speculative bubble.
Well, they're absolutely correct that the Tesla PE ratio is out of all proportion to its profitability, because, car companies just cannot earn that kind of return. They just cannot. And so I think it's a fair point to make. However, the point that I think they're missing, and I think the valid counter argument is, Tesla is not just a car company. Tesla is an energy company. It's a rideshare company. It's a humanoid robotics company. And above all, it's an AI company, an embodied AI company. And these assets, because they're real assets that Tesla have, they are entitled to a reasonable valuation exercise in and of themselves, because in each of these fields, Tesla have proven pretty solidly their intention, their ability, and their potential. And so while they're all potential and while they're all nascent, that we bulls are valuing not just the car company, but the car company as an instrument to enable these other major startups within the Tesla ecosystem. We've all seen Elon's successes over the years. We've been able to judge his ability and his management's ability to turn those businesses into profit centers. And our judgment is that he's going to succeed significantly well in each of those areas. Tesla Q, or the bears, don't have that same confidence, and therefore for them the stock is overvalued. And so both sides are absolutely reasonable in their judgment, and the judgment of the bears is the car company is doing okay, it's going through a very tough time, and maybe it'll survive, but we don't have a lot of faith in it. There are signs that it's struggling, and therefore we think that it's grossly overvalued, and we think it's going to do badly. The Tesla bull argument is the car company is going through a tough time. It represents the history of the pandemic and the product management and the supply chain, which, by the way, most of the other car companies are. I mean, if you only have to look at BMW's most recent results, it's going through exactly the same travails that Tesla went through. And it's a very different car company, but it's going through very similar travail. So, yeah, it's been through a tough time, but we think it's going to be, we think its future is very good, particularly because of RoboTaxi, particularly because of, the energy business, and particularly because of the robotics business, and particularly because of embodied AI in general across all these businesses. So there's just this difference in philosophy, and both sides are valid. I'm not sure who's going to win, but one thing's for sure. If the bears are right, the stock is going to zero. If the bulls are right, the stock's going to 3,000. Pick your poison.
Very well articulated. The best I've heard. Summarized, succinct, and very, very, very fair. Okay, I like that very much. Well done. Back to the car company thing. The other argument is that profitability is under attack. Elon used to talk about 50% growth. We're not seeing that now. There's competition that is coming everywhere, and that's going to, cost. It's going to make the margins even fall further. And if they're concerned about profitability, they're concerned about the company's financials. What's your argument to that?
Well, it's deja vu. We had this exact conversation in 2018, 2019. Exact conversation. I mean, almost word for word. You could have repeated this to me in 2018, and I would have had to say, yeah, you're right, but I have great confidence that Tesla will achieve the 500,000 cars by 2020, and that they will grow at 50% thereafter. So now we're at a point where, well, where's the 50% growth? We've had zero growth this is the second year of zero growth. And not only are we having zero growth, but we're actually seeing margins decline significantly. And that decline in margins, is really killing the company. And so, we think the company's in trouble. So the bull argument to that is, yeah, we're going through this decline. We're going through this decline because there's, significant change in the lineup. There's a significant change in adding rideshare, and so we think that over time the company will do its 50%. But like happened in 18 and 19, the revenue is going to fall, the returns are going to fall, profits are going to go down, possibly even to zero, as we retool and get ready for the 3, and all that happened with the 3. So both sides have extremely valid arguments. Stock can go to zero, stock can go to 3,000. Pick your poison. You have one view or the other view, and both are valid. Both are based upon, reasonable assumptions, and you've got to take your chances. It is without doubt a highly, highly risky endeavor, but with great risk comes great profit, and with great risk comes the potential of going to zero.
Okay. The big one is competition's coming. You can. Oh, you're laughing on that one?
Coming.
Yeah.
Look
oh my gosh. Hey, Farzad, how are you doing?
Photobomb my. Anyway. Yeah, Farzad and I have had a very interesting couple of days.
Nice. Sounds like fun. Hanging out too. Florida.
Got a surprise coming.
Great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear. Okay. So the competition's coming?
Yeah. I mean, competition coming is like, it's like the national anthem. They keep repeating it. Every time we have a party, they play the national anthem. So every time we have a party, they play competition is coming. I mean, it's fairly perpetual that competition will always be coming. And that's the nature of it. I mean, again, it's glass half full, glass half empty, or glass half empty, glass half full. And the half empty of it is all the majors, and more importantly, the new Chinese companies are going to be producing fantastic EVs. They've got these incredible batteries. They're going to completely destroy Tesla. The other side of the argument is Tesla have set the pace time and time again with design, with manufacturing skills, with innovation, with full self-driving, and all of those together have kept them ahead of the market when we've been told competition was coming in 2018, we were told competition was coming in 2019, we were told competition is coming in 2021. We were told by GM they're going to have 50 models in 2023. I think I've got it right. Yeah. And they didn't even have 5 in 2023, and none of them sold anyway. I think they sold 35 trucks. Anyway, bottom line is, yes, competition is coming. If you believe that competition is going to overwhelm Tesla, then you made a valid bear argument. Yes, competition is coming, but if you believe we're going to see a perpetuation of Tesla's leadership in the market, Tesla's dragging the competition behind them, and Tesla's winning ways, with their technology, with the full self-driving and so on and so forth, and with these other legs of the Tesla capability, and that is to say energy, the full self-driving, the robot and embodied AI. If you accept that, then Tesla's going to keep winning. And so again, it's glass half full, glass half empty. Both are right. Let me rephrase that. Both could be right. Either could be right. And, if you're a bear, you're betting on them failing. If you're a bull, you're betting on them succeeding. And who knows? Time will tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Elon says competition is always here. It's just that we need to be one step ahead and innovate the next thing. And that's why they're working on RoboTaxi or full self-driving. There's competition everywhere, but ours is better. Can we be that much better? We can make more money. Our margins are better, but can other car companies, they can release cars, but can they make money? And eventually that hits them hard. They can't keep it up.
Herbert, I have one question. We've known about robotaxis for almost 8 years, right? We've known about the robot for almost 5 years now. I think the humanoid robot was 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my question is, we haven't had a new product for almost 5 years. Isn't it time? Yeah. Isn't it time?
It is time.
Right.
Yeah, I think there will be something new, and I think what it is it's AI. It's going to be, it's either going to be other form factors or it's going to be some sort of AI solution. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I'm certain of. It's going to be something that neither of us have ever thought of.
Yeah, I think so. It's about time. Yeah. Okay, so there's the big one. I remember Jim Chanos used to be the number one short, Tesla short, and he was always being interviewed, always debates. And every time he was on TV, he would say the same thing. Of course, he's no longer around. He had to shut down his, unfortunately, he had to shut it down because he lost the bet. He was a Tesla short that lost, and now he had to, leave. His big argument was that Tesla's overexposed with China. At any moment, China can kick Tesla out. 50% of Tesla's revenue comes from China. What's your argument to that bear case?
He's absolutely right. Again, like all the other bear arguments, the argument is correct. On the other hand, China is the world's biggest car market. If you want to be a competitor in the vehicle space, if you want to be a competitor in the rideshare space, if you want to be a competitor in the humanoid robot space, if you want to be a competitor in embodied AI, you have to be in China. Now, he's not unique. Tesla is not unique. General Motors, Ford, Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW are all in China. They failed, and their failure was a direct result of their lack of vision. That's my view. Your view may be different, but that's my view. But the point is, they're still all in China, one way or the other. They're all in China. Tesla just happens to be in China in a different way. They have, installed a large manufacturing plant in China that they fully run, and that has proved to be a leader that has driven Chinese auto manufacturing to new levels. So I think China has got, and this is the bull argument, China has got an enormous investment in maintaining Tesla in China to keep the Chinese moving forward and to keep the Chinese ahead of the world. They owe Tesla an enormous vote of gratitude for dragging the Chinese automaker, ahead of the rest of the world by innovating and showing China where to go. And it hasn't stopped. You just, in an earlier episode, we showed the tremendous advance, or how tremendously advanced Tesla's full self-driving is to the Chinese versions of full self-driving. Well, that's going to spur China ahead. And that just shows you, I mean, we didn't think that FSD would be allowed in China. Yeah. And China allowed it. Why? Because they wanted to force the Chinese companies to compete against, Tesla. And so the bull argument is China has got a huge incentive to maintain their relationship with Tesla. And I think this is a very cogent argument. So yeah, the bears are right. China is a huge risk factor. The bulls are right. China is a huge opportunity. Pick your poison.
Yeah, and so far all signs point that the Chinese government needs Tesla more than Tesla needs the Chinese government, or they're at least equal. They just approve FSD in China. Why would they have done that if they were, trying to kick them out, or they think they have their own solution? But and now that humanoid robots are here,
you've just proved yourself to be a bull.
Sure, okay. So, but like I said, you can argue either way.
Yeah.
The other one is, of course, Elon Musk's leadership. The bears think that he's unpredictable. He's focused on so many other things. He really doesn't. He's controversial, and of course, recently his involvement with the government is a negative. He's damaged the brand, and does he not care for Tesla? The Tesla investors are very upset. Some of them that he's doing this. Some of them are calling for him to be fired. He should no longer be leading it and step away.
And on the other hand, the bulls are saying, and what you said, is the bear position, and I think some of it is very fair. On the other hand, the bulls would say that it is Elon Musk that has made the difference to the company, that has created the company, and his leadership is driving the company into areas where it would never have, strayed, and therefore it would have just become a car company, and the bears would have been right about the returns and about the stock value. So, I myself have had great reservations about Elon's foray into politics. Got into severe hot water because of my views.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you think about what Elon believes in terms of the risk, not only to Tesla, but to the United States and therefore the world, then you understand that his passion is to help save what he thinks to be save the US and the world from these great risks. And you have to respect that, because his judgment has been uncannily accurate to date from a business perspective, from an investment perspective. And so, I've learned to understand the value, and I've learned to understand his objectives, his passion, the reason for it. And so I'm fully supportive of it, but I fully understand the negative aspects of those people who don't align with his politics or who believe that he should be more focused on his business. His argument is that the business is really dependent upon the economic climate and the country and the United States' solvency. And if the United States is not solvent, then not only is Tesla at risk, but the entire world's economy is at risk. So I'm aligned. I mean, the risks are very great. and I'm on the bull side on this, but the bears have a case, and I respect that case, by the way.
Yeah, it's a bit of like the argument that they have is counterintuitive because you're at one point you're saying he's not even there, but the other point is you should fire him. you know,
Yeah, I mean, people who say that he should be there are people who don't want him to be there in the first place, which is,
yeah,
I mean,
which is weird. And
yeah,
then net, you have 120,000 employees. You have these executives that are running the gigafactories. He doesn't. The fact that he's not there tells you that this company is succeeding without him there.
yeah.
And he comes
Yeah, but
in to makes the huge changes. Yeah.
I've done some research into the management, into the depth of management, and I'm
Yeah.
coming up
You
with
did.
a renewal of that investigation, because some of those senior executives have turned over, and so it's very interesting to discover that the people who've replaced them are just as experienced. In fact, in many cases, more experienced than those who've left, and clearly very, very talented. The
Yeah.
the depth and quality of management is one of the features. It's not the bug; it's a feature of Elon's management style. The quality of people he attracts, the quality of people he hires, and the quality of people that stay with him 5 to 10 to 15 years, which after all is the tenure of an executive in any major corporation in the United States, in fact, in the world today. The quality of the people and the quality of the choice of the people and the quality of the position of the people is really outstanding. That's been my finding. So I'm not on the side of the bears in this case. I'm very much on the side of the bulls, which is no surprise because I've come down as a bull. I mean, I'm quite open as a bull. So I think that the work that Elon has done in building the management team and maintaining the management team and maintaining oversight on that management team is remarkable. I'll remind you that 3 years ago, when it appears that Tesla was on the top of its game and at the top of the market and everything was going brilliantly, Elon decided to cut the workforce 10%.
Yeah. That's right.
And it shocked everybody.
That's right.
But look with what foresight he made that move.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you have to respect his ability to choose people, to hire people, to bring them on, to keep them on, and to give them the ability to lead themselves in their place. So I'm on the bull side in this case, but the bears have an argument.
Okay. One of the last major ones I think it is RoboTaxi. Even Elon himself has said, if you don't think that Tesla is going to be able to solve RoboTaxi, do not invest in this stock. He was just very, very clear about that. So then a lot of people took that to say, you see, it's like he agrees with you. The car company's worthless. Stock is zero if it's just the car company. And then there's others that many bears will point to the fact that Elon has been saying every year since 2015, every single year says it will be done this year. It will be done this year. So what's your argument back as a bull that you believe that Tesla will solve RoboTaxi versus what everybody else, so many people think that it's just yet another Elon statement. And by the way, everyone else is doing it too.
Well, I think, people who are saying that probably have a really good track record in terms of calling the fact that he's wrong on the RoboTaxi, because they would have been right for every year for the last, and it hasn't been 15 years, it's been 9 years. Every time they've called it over the last 9 years, they've been correct. The other side of that argument is that I drive FSD. Mm-hmm. My wife drives FSD. And we know that FSD is getting very close to, ready for showtime. And the rate of improvement now we see, 2 years ago, we could honestly say that the rate of improvement was suspicious because it'd be one step forward and 2 steps backwards, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. Time after release after release, we didn't see an overall improvement that would lead us to declare that this thing was on track. Now it's different. We know we have identified those few things that remain in order for RoboTaxi to succeed, and they keep knocking these things off one at a time. So the bull argument is very simple. We see with our own eyes and we drive with our own, with our own experience, and we see that RoboTaxi is about to be perfect. Not perfect, but certainly ready to become full self-driving and autonomous, ready to become autonomous. Look, the bear argument, you've laid it out. I mean, we just have had disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. That is, by the way, that's not true since the single stack. Since the single stack, not only has the improvement from the software, from the determinant software to the fully, fully AI-driven stack,
neural net,
the neural net-driven software, all net, I mean, has been dramatic. And we saw it in, last episode, we saw the difference between the Chinese FSD and the Tesla FSD, and it was the same. It's the same difference that we've experienced ourselves when we moved from the coded solution to the full stack of neural net. So all I'm saying is that I understand why the bears are saying that. They may have a point, but I believe very solidly in what Tesla have developed. So if we look at all these arguments, there's a really strong case to be made, particularly at the current share price or at any share price above, I don't know, $60, $70. This is not a car company that you can buy at 300 cents or 500 cents or 250 cents. This is a car company that, as a car company, and energy company is separate from, but as a car company would be worth substantially less. As an energy company and car company combined, would still be worth less than the current price. But if you take into account RoboTaxi, if you take into account the humanoid robot, if you take into account, embodied AI, and you take all of that together, it's a different company, and the bulls are very, very well based in their arguments. So take your choice. Which company, which glass do you want? Which glass has got poison in it? Which, I don't know.
Yeah. I like what you said earlier, which is it's all probabilities. And absolutely, there's a probability that it's just going to fail.
Yes.
You have to take that into account. But the probability that it succeeds, we're talking RoboTaxi, robot, embodied AI, those kind of things succeed is high. And we track everything that happens every day to giving us more confidence that these things are higher probability every day than lower probability each day, that some of these will succeed. But what you said earlier was if it succeeds, you're talking about a $3,000 stock.
Yes.
If it fails, you can go from 200 to 100, easily for sure. But
or 80 or 70.
Or 80 or less, sure.
Yeah.
But it's still very, it's worth in our minds that we're watching it, probability increasing that it's going to succeed. And if it does, the return is so big. And for me, it's like I'm looking at Tesla as I like companies that are addressing the largest markets in the world. So some people like pharmaceuticals, or that's why they invest in autos, right? Energy businesses. And here we have the largest markets in Earth: labor with robots, AI, of course. Then you got a RoboTaxi, which is even bigger than the auto business. These are the top, and in energy. These are the biggest markets, the top. So,
right. And you have to consider in each of those markets Tesla's competitive position, Tesla's product line. These are broad considerations, and you have to bring judgment. I'll make one more point. If you invest in Tesla, you're acting as your own venture capitalist. because you're investing in a company that is a portfolio of ventures. This is not a New York Stock Exchange company where you have a fairly predictable flow of cash, and you can discount that flow of cash at a well understood discount rate, dependent on whatever the interest rate is today and whatever your perspective of what the interest rate is going to be. This is not that kind of company. This is a company that is a portfolio of ventures managed by, or curated by, I think is the better word, by Elon Musk. So you have to think about Elon Musk, his skill at curating and succeeding in venture capital, in venture firms. And then you have to evaluate whether you want to be in a venture firm in those fields that Tesla is in. And then thirdly, you have to consider the value of those 3 or 4 disparate ventures that they're in, and estimate and come up with an estimate of the value. And I submit that's what the market is doing. Mm-hmm. And I submit that there is, from my perspective, a really good opportunity to make a good 10x to 100x, somewhere in that field, in my judgment and in my humble opinion, and in 3, 5, 10 years. If you're not comfortable with making venture investments, right, if you're not comfortable in trying to project revenue and profits and cash flow from those ventures that haven't reached profitability or haven't reached even revenue yet, then I understand it. Yes. And you're right. And you've made the right judgment, get out of the stock. But don't borrow money to invest in the company because it's a VC company. It's risky. Don't short the company because it's a VC company and can explode in your face. Those would be my advice, not investment advice, life advice to those people playing with the Tesla stock. Does that make any sense to you?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that very much. It's a portfolio of ventures. And what it made me realize and think about some more is that there's a lot of us Tesla investors who, especially the ones who really got into Tesla, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, they're really value investors. They were looking at the EV business and they wanted that to grow, and they can kind of like market that out. Right. And then they don't believe in these other ventures because they're shot in the darks, right? These are like, you're like a startup investor, but you're not. You're a disruptive innovator, but you're not. You're like a value investor. Right. And then they go, here's what the earnings are next year. Here's what the PE is. I just can't see stock going up. Yeah. And you're like, what? How come you? Because you're totally two different mindsets.
You're exactly right. And this is why, I see life differently to the way Gary Black sees life. Right. And this is why he and I have these differences. Now, I respect Gary. He does a lot of very knowledgeable intellectual exercises on the potential of the car company. And he's normally dead on his estimates in the car company and his critique of the car company. I don't invest in Tesla because of the car company
anymore. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Well, I never did invest it as a car company. I'll be honest. I invested it as an Elon Musk property. There's a huge difference.
There's a huge difference, yeah. And you're willing to wait for the innovation, and the innovation is about to come. So that's the thing. We're here. We'll find out if the bulls are correct, or wait another couple of years. But that's the argument the bears have. It's always wait a couple more years. Just wait. Yeah. I think we're here, so we'll see. Okay. Thank you so much, Larry. That was great. You were very articulate, and you were very fair, I thought, how you evaluate both the bear position and the bull position. Thank you, everybody. Follow Larry on his X account, Tesla Larry. Thank you. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.